1-2, pro boxing fans here in London for the Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin press conference, and look who's here. Two of US's finest, Ak and Barak. Guys, pleasure meeting you guys, pleasure seeing you guys. You know it's a big event when you two turn up. How you guys doing?
I'm feeling phenomenal, fresh off the jet, literally fresh out of the airport here. I haven't even went to the hotel, changed or nothing, so you can't smell how funk I am through that camera, but we in the building.
No, but I can smell, and that's a problem. If you see my face, it's punched up, that's the reason why. Literally, our bags are in the back, but we're here because this is like, I know they say that the mecca of boxing is like Madison Square Garden, New York, but when the people in New York come here, they'll see that this is kind of like where fighting kind of lives. And Anthony Joshua is the biggest figure in the country.
When he gets back to New York, he'll switch it back up.
I'm so serious because literally, like, there are not fans. I don't have a multitude of friends that speak boxing. Right. Here, it's like boxing is like basketball back home, you know? So it's crazy. I love it.
Have you guys covered an event in the UK before? Which one was the last one you guys did?
Last one was AJ Usyk, the first one.
Right, absolutely.
That was at the Tottenham Stadium.
Yeah. And the first one was the Povetkin fight. Okay. Joshua versus Povetkin, the first fight on DAZN, 2018.
That was a little while ago. Let's talk about this fight. Anthony Joshua got a new trainer. He's out in the US with Derek James, someone that boxing fans know well through Errol Spence and everything else. Talk to me about this move. Do you feel like this is a good move for AJ? We've seen he's gone back to old school type of training. You know, he's cutting trees, he's doing the old school runs. But is this a good matchup in your eyes, a matchup with Derek James?
I think that the culture that Derek James brings to his camp, like with Errol Spence and Charlo and those guys, it's a culture that's different. You know, no disrespect to what AJ has dealt with before with McCracken and those dudes, but that culture is what I feel AJ needs. Now, we don't know what that's going to mean in terms of the fight, right? But I think with him it's more mental, right? Because he has a physical ability to obviously be at the top. We all saw what he did at a fast pace since 17, 18 years old. So I think that he just needed some mental tweaking, maybe some technique that Derek wants to bring. I love the matchup. I can't wait to see what it translates to.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like, you know, usually a fighter's at that level, like Miguel Cotto, he goes to get a new trainer, Freddie Roach. He's not trying to teach him new stuff. He's trying to give him that confidence that he had and remind him who he was, you know, and that's what I think Anthony Joshua needed. It's not like Anthony Joshua needs to know how to throw a jab. He don't need to know how to knock people out. He's done that at the top of the amateurs, at the top of the pros. He's always been at the top, so he knows what to do. He just needed a different look, a different confidence. That gives you different adrenaline, and you're going to see a different outcome in the ring.
How much in boxing is the mental battle bigger than the physical battle? We saw AJ after the Usyk fight. He broke down in the ring. He said since then, look, there's a lot of pressure on me. He was a poster boy for the UK, for British boxing, and turned out to be the poster boy for global boxing. But how much of a mental game do you have to play when you're a boxer? How much is that more than the physical side?
Well, look, it's all of it, actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't say all of it, but, you know, because that's, you know, a big cliche. It's you have to be physically ready to go 12 rounds. So I don't want to undermine the physicality of the sport and being prepared for it. Obviously, the mental part of it is just when you face adversity in that fight and moments where you question yourself. That's when the mental strength has to kick in. But I would say it's just as important as the physical.
Yeah, in other words, that's every fight. You know, every fight you have to be mentally prepared. You know, fighters go in there unprepared physically, and it's because mentally they feel like I didn't do enough, and that's how they fold. And then you got some fighters who are just so confident, even if they only had 2 weeks camp, they're ready to go in there to kill, and they feel like they're going to win. So mentally is the biggest part of everything in life, no matter what. No matter how much physicality you have, if you're not prepared mentally, that physical is not going to work.
I want to talk about Jermaine Franklin, the man who's here to upset the odds, to be the party pooper. When you saw him against Dillian Whyte and the performance that he put in, a lot of people said, look, he might have won on the night. He might have got that decision on a different day. Maybe he got that decision. But in your eyes, do you feel like he's got enough to upset the odds?
He's definitely skilled enough to cause an upset, and he has nothing to lose. Obviously, all the opportunity in the world ahead of him if he should win this fight. Skill set, he's experienced, right? More so than AJ. And I don't think it happens, and I'm just going to go flat out before you even ask me for a prediction. I just think we're going to see a different side of AJ, and I think the fight ends within 8 rounds. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that, but that's not saying that AJ doesn't belong here. In fact, it's surprising to me that AJ took this fight after the second loss against Usyk, because this is a guy that's a huge threat. It's not a soft touch. So kudos to AJ for taking this fight, and Franklin deserves to be here.
I mean, it's never a guarantee that the A side, quote unquote, is going to win in the sport of boxing, and that's why we love it. If there wasn't a chance, we wouldn't watch it. You know what I mean? So yes, there's a chance that Jermaine Franklin can win. There's a big chance, not just because he's a heavyweight, because it's like what Ox said. This kid is skilled. This kid's been boxing since he was a kid. His movement is more natural than a lot of heavyweights. It just so happens that the heavyweights that's been reigning for a while started late, so they might not have that natural movement, but Franklin has it. So that's a scary thing coming into the heavyweight division.
Listen, as boxing fans that we are, we want to see AJ in the big fights. I'm going to ask you both the question, what is that one fight you want to see AJ in? A lot of people are talking about Fury. There's that big Wilder fight. A lot. When I talk about Wilder, AJ just excites me. But for yourself, what's that one fight that you think is the ultimate fight for AJ?
It's Wilder. You said it. I mean, Deontay Wilder, the history that they have over, I don't know how many years now, 6-7 years.
Since 2016, 17.
Right, yeah, so at least 5-6 years. That fight is so intriguing to me because of some of the mistakes that Wilder makes in the ring. Leaves him vulnerable for AJ to be successful, but obviously we know he's arguably one of the hardest heavyweight punchers in history, right? So then there's that. So I just think that that's the most intriguing fight to me in the heavyweight division, honestly, even though it's not for undisputed, but that would be the fight if I can pick one fight for AJ.
Hands down, it's about the popular fighters. It's about the fighters that have a history. It's the grudge match. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing better than a story behind the fight, and there's not much story behind Fury and Joshua. You know, it's just a good domestic, huge fight. You know what I mean? But in reality, what's going to bring the whole world together, two sides of the world together, is Joshua versus Deontay Wilder.
I do want to talk about Fury before I let you guys leave. There was these talks with Oleksandr Usyk. We've all seen it online, the Instagram posts, the back and forth that they've had on social media. It seems like the public perception is that it's left Tyson Fury in a bad place. People are turning on Tyson Fury. I'm looking at comments with Tyson Fury fans saying, listen, we want Usyk to win. We don't like Tyson's conduct. What do you make of his perception publicly? Do you feel like it's giving him a bad image from all these negotiations that he had with Usyk?
I mean, I think that the perception is warranted to some degree, because Usyk obviously agreed to the terms that were offered to him. And as far as, especially a guy like Fury, whose confidence level is, more so than any other fighter. So for him to be thinking about the rematch and not accepting the terms to be flipped, it's just odd. But then again, Fury, he's the troll king, right? I expect him maybe next week to say something totally different. We never know what to expect from him. But as of now, it's a little dissatisfying that we're not getting that fight to see an undisputed champion. But I like Usyk's approach. All right, I'm going to move on. That's it. I'm done playing with this. But we'll see Fury in there again. And honestly, I think we'll see him against Usyk.
Yeah, that'll be cool. I think you could look at it both ways. Okay, we can give him a whole bunch of credit and say he came out of darkness and fought Deontay Wilder, and that's ridiculously scary at that time, and had a draw with him. Some people thought he won, and to call him fearless. But I don't know. Usyk is left-handed. He's small. He had a problem with U.S. Cunningham, who was a small guy. He said that was his hardest fight. You know what I mean? He's left-handed. He's wiry. He's probably a better boxer even, technically, than Fury. I don't know. Maybe there's some doubts. Maybe because look, a man like Fury, with all of the stuff that he's been talking, he's a true warrior, true grit. Why would he even care about a rematch? I would expect Fury to say, who cares? There's no rematch clause. I don't care. I'm going to win. you're 160 pounds. He's calling him a middleweight. You know what I mean? So it is kind of strange.
But although that a lot of people are saying Tyson Fury is still number one, it's very hard to mention other fighters and not put Tyson as number one. But in your eyes, who gives Tyson the closest challenge in the division?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. As of now, we saw what Wilder can give to him, right? Wilder can hurt him. So that right there, till date, that's his biggest challenge. As far as stylistically, I don't know, man. I don't see anybody else giving him that many issues. I think AJ's size and power could possibly pose a threat. But I agree with you. Fury's the best fighter in the world, no question about it. The only thing that I think that's going to be mentioned if he hangs it up or if he doesn't fight another elite fighter is how long was the resume. He can possibly be one of the best heavyweights ever, but the two biggest names on his resume is Klitschko and Wilder because he fought Wilder 3 times. So at what point for him does he want to add to that list? That's what I want to see.
Yeah, what was your question? That was a long answer.
Who challenges Fury? Who's the fighter that you believe challenges Fury the most?
My mind was elsewhere. It's hard to say because you don't know how a fighter is going to actually get into the ring and fight. So you could say AJ because he has the power and he can come forward. But in reality, I think it might be Usyk only because what he's going to change the mindset of Fury, because I believe Fury said this on an interview that U.S. Cunningham was his hardest opponent. So I think he doesn't really like to fight those small, wiry guys. So because of that mentally, that's why that guy. And plus, he's going to be a guy that moves. He's going to be a guy that moves. Fury is used to being the slickest fighter in the ring. So now you're going to have somebody who's slicker than you and left-handed. I think that's going to be some trouble for him.
Before I let you two go, there's one question I've got to ask, man. When guys come over from the States or people in boxing, when I talk about Gervonta Tank Davis versus Ryan Garcia, there's always a smile on the face. Talk to me about that fight. How does that fight play out?
I'm not going to give you a prediction on that fight. I really don't know how it's going to play out. Obviously, in the States, Gervonta is a favorite in that fight. I guess you can say he's slightly more experienced or obviously shown tremendous power. And Ryan has shown that he can be hurt. But Ryan's speed and power might be overlooked here to some degree, but obviously his team is worried about the rehydration clause. I mean, well, they added a rehydration clause. They're worried about how he's going to hydrate, so they're already concerned about Ryan's power and how heavy he's going to be on fight night. So that puts I guess a little question mark there about how Gervonta is going to go into the fight. He has concerns, which he's never shown before. So I don't know how the fight plays out. I'm excited to be there. We'll be there on the 22nd. It's going to be a hell of a fight.
It's basically the biggest fight of the year against two young guys, literally in their 20s, and neither one of them holds belts. It's just popularity. Their star power. It's amazing. And you know what? To make a comment about what you said, I think Ryan is playing that psychological game, acting like this rehydration clause is bothering him. Yeah. But in reality, he's going to come in there ready to fight, and it can go either way. These guys are both explosive fighters.
Yeah. Well, guys, I appreciate your time. I know you're both tired, but you're here to do your thing. Thank you very much for talking to Pro Box fans. Have a good stay in the UK, and we'll catch you fight night. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Watching Pro Boxing fans.
Thank you very much.